Jim from Jim's Wholiest Coleus. How's everybody doing? All right, hey, we're gonna do a real quickie video, see how things are going. I'm real happy. I feel like I'm back on track after that little scare with the stall Coleus. Everything is right back on track, doing really well. Hope everybody else's Coleus are doing well. Again, if you have any questions or problems, shoot me a message on Instagram or leave me a comment here. Also, just remember, if your Coleus don't look like mine or aren't the same size or color as mine, it doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. It all depends on where you live in the world. There's so many variables, so don't be too hard on yourself. Be patient. Just keep things going the way they're going. If you have any questions on something that you're concerned with, just ask and I'll help you out. So, all right, so let's go take a look at our fabulous Coleus. Doing really well. All right, so we got lots and lots of Coleus here. Lots of Coleus. And they just go on and on. And I'm really happy this year because every year I try to get a couple of new varieties that I haven't grown the year before, spread them out, just get a little something different. I have, if you've been following along, you'll know that my favorite are the Kongs, and we got plenty of Kongs growing. But I'm really happy with the way everything is going here. Really crazy. And I got some peppers. They're doing real well. I just potted these yesterday. And as you can see, they're all a different sizes because again, when you plant 500-600 Coleus, you can't, and it's only me, you can't sow them all at the same time because of course I'd be going crazy. So they're all really taking off. Before we get out to the greenhouse, we gotta keep them in here, and I have the room, I have the racks, and once we get out into the greenhouse, and what I do, again, I'm in New Jersey, the frost date, which is the last frost, the last date that we could possibly get for frost is like the first week of May. So I judge it. I basically look at the forecast, and as long as the nights remain above 60, I have a heater for my greenhouse that I put on, but I just have to make sure that they're a little hardy. These are pretty hardy, but these are way too tender to risk going out into the greenhouse. Even with the heater, if it drops down to 50 at night, it's just going to be too risky. And I've made that mistake in the past. So I learned from my mistakes. And one of the main things I've learned over the years is to be patient. There's some Darth Vader Coleus. They're so cool. They're ugly, but they're cool. But I have some really nice. Those are jitters. I'm really happy. I mean, I think this is going to be, and I'm not just saying this to say it, this is going to be my best crop of all the years that I've been doing this. I feel like I have the broadest variety of Coleus this year, and I have some great colors. There's a Kong, a rose Kong coming in. Look at those two rose Kongs. Well, let's get a little closer look. That really shows the pink, and look at that. That's beautiful. That's going to be a beautiful Coleus. And I'm already, the wheels are turning in my head on what I'm going to do. Is that going to go in a hanging basket or what kind of pot? There's a beautiful jitters. That's a slender jitters. That's a jitters as well, but it's a little different variety, a little different color. That's a jitters, little different color. And that's what I love about doing this, is that they're jitters, but almost every one of them that you grow, that you sow, there's so many variables to the seed, and you're going to get You'll get a bunch that are the same, but you're going to get different ones, different colors, and that's what's great about it. There's another rose Kong. Some jitters. I got a lot of jitters this year, which are really, really good. And this is our nettles. The painted nettles. And they can also, you can see a little pink coming in. Those are beautiful too. So I'm really happy. I got a bunch of those. And they're doing really, really well. Everything looks really good. I got them off the heat mat. I've been ventilating them. I opened a window. We had a couple of days here that were 80, 75. I get the window open. Lots of air. And it does wonders. A little bit of fertilizer and water every few days, and they really have exploded. Got a bunch of Defiance coming in. Here's some more. Here's another Defiance. There's a bunch of Defiance there. And these are Fairway Mosaics. How about a bunch of these? So they're really, really nice. Everything's doing really, really well. So, and it's a lot of work now because now I need to move these around on the rack. So actually, here is a rare video of my bay window, and I'm very lucky. This is a southeast facing window. Gets a great shot. It gets all day sun. Just perfect for plants. You can see I got the overwintered Coleus going strong. I have a couple of little pots. It's an overwintered Coleus. I have these wishbone Torinas. I potted a few of those, and these are going to grow to they have like a deep dark blue with yellow centers, and some of them have white centers. Here's a picture of one that's grown. I know I featured one in my other video, but these are going to be beautiful, and their seeds are very similar to Coleus seeds. They're white, they're a little bit larger, and you plant them the same way you do Coleus, by dropping them on the surface of moist soil and patting them down gently. Remember, if you're growing Coleus, you do not bury the Coleus seeds. You drop them on top of moist soil, and you gently pat the seeds down. You don't want to put the Coleus seeds on your soil and then water, because you can disturb the seed. It might wash away, you don't know. So it's always good to make sure that's why I like to use these pods. And speaking of pods, this is why I like to use the pods, because you can moisten them. Obviously, you have to moisten them to get them to expand. They're moist already. You drop your 4 Coleus seeds on it, or however many Coleus you want to grow. You drop them on the surface, you drop them on the moist pods, and then you cover them. So, but you can see this is another round. I have 2 trays just filled with Coleus, and these, by the time these are ready to separate, I'll be out in the greenhouse. I'll have plenty of room, so I try to organize it so I don't go crazy in my house. And here's the wishbone Toranias, and I put 2 to a pot, and I could split those up later. I know it sounds like it's a lot of extra work. Some of them I have singles, some of them I have doubles. I can put a double in a hanging basket. I prefer to keep them single to a pot, but I have so many and I only have so much room. So, but we have plenty of time. And again, that other tray that's just chock full of Coleus, I'll be ready to go in another month with that. Okay, just last before we get going, people ask me, hey, when can I start trimming my Coleus? This is still pretty young, but you can see there's a lot of growth coming in on the bottom. So I'm going to trim this off here You could trim these little leaves here. As long as you have, when you see you have growth coming in on the bottom like that, and you have some larger, older leaves, even these here, it's okay to trim them. And I'm going to do that. That's why I have all my Coleus on the table now. I'm going to go over all of them. And I do a little at a day, a little at a time, so I don't go mad. But if you see you have growth coming in like that, that's a good sign. You got a nice healthy Coleus. It's young still, and you can trim it. Just trim it with scissors, and you will not harm your Coleus. It's not going to kill the Coleus. It's not going to hurt the Coleus. This is not doing anything but taking nutrition away from these little guys. And as it grows, even this one here, we can see in the back. Let me see if we can zoom in on there. See that little sprout coming out? That's another set of leaves. So we're going to trim that little, let's see if we're trying to get out of focus here. We're going to trim this little leaf here. It's kind of curled. We got growth coming in. Even at this delicate stage, I have nice little thin scissors. We're going to trim that. And I do a little every day. A little every day. Every couple of days I'll do a little. So you can definitely trim your Coleus when you're at this point. It's not going to hurt it. And it's actually going to help. You're going to stimulate the new growth. What that does by trimming these leaves, the energy, just think of the food that would normally have to go to this leaf to maintain the health of this. Well, if this is gone, that food doesn't need to go there anymore. So it's going to go to these guys, and these little leaves are going to get the nutrition now. And that's basically the principle of trimming. And then as you get a little older, once your Coleus get a certain height, you want to keep it short, and you do that by cutting the 2 new leaves that come in every week or so, every couple of days. There you go. Same thing as a dead leaf. I got to get rid of that. And that too, that's part of the maintenance. You need to get rid of the little dead leaves. But you see all that leaf growth coming in? So trim, even this here. We'll trim that leaf out of there. Get rid of some of these larger leaves on the bottom. Let those bottom leaves come in. Down here, there's a leaf. Down here, you have a couple of these older ones down here. Trim that. That's actually coming right off. Some of them will fall off. They're just older, so they just fall right off. So, okay, so just keep doing what you're doing. Any questions, shoot me a comment here or on Instagram, but just keep doing what you're doing. If you see your Coleus is getting really, really tall, like this one here, maybe it's time to trim a top. And again, getting back to my racks here, I rotate these trays from shelf to shelf, and I turn them around every couple of days because they're always going to lean towards the light. Even with grow lights, they're going to lean towards the light. The dominant light is obviously outside. So it's important to rotate even your seedlings, even your little seedlings. You're going to notice that they reach over to the light. So even the little germinations, rotate those around every couple of days if they are reaching, and most of them do. So just turn them around, move them around, maintain your water, don't overwater. Some of them look drier. I get to know, again, this is moisture control Miracle Grow potting mixture, so I know I don't need to water these every day, that they have a good amount of water. I bottom feed these trays also. Every couple of days I'll water on the bottom, and that's really good for the plants. It's important for the plants because it stimulates the growth. It makes the roots just naturally seek out water. So if you water from the bottom too, the roots are going to grow, and you'd be surprised how fast. Like these here, I guarantee if I were to pop one of these Coleus out from these nursery pots, that the soil is going to be filled with roots. These roots, Coleus, grow such prolific root systems, they take over the whole pot. So that's another, and when they get this size, how easy it is to pop them out of their trays. So they definitely, the roots go crazy. So it's good to bottom water also. And again, make sure your pots, no matter what pot you put them in, make sure the pots have drain holes on the bottom. Very important. Okay, so they look nice, don't they? They really came out. I was so happy because I was a little concerned. You know, if you were following along, and you know that video I shot a couple of, about, I guess it was 3 weeks ago, when I had some problems with some of the Coleus stalling and so forth with the heat mats. I had too much heat on them. I was a little concerned. I was afraid that maybe the Coleus weren't going to do too well, but they really came back. I'm really glad that they're looking really well. They really look great. So spring is here. You can see the Forsythia bushes. They're nice and yellow. Everything's coming out, starting to green up. And just a quick observation, and this goes along to the I learn each year from the previous year of mistakes that I've made. And the one thing I've made in the past, and this is just like, you can put this towards just getting older, is learning from your mistakes and being patient. And I always, you know, I want to get out to the greenhouse. I want to get spring going. I want to get my plants to grow. I want them to be big and beautiful and so forth. And my mistake that is getting the Coleus out too fast. And again, I'm going to shoot a video later on about weathering your Coleus. And a day like today, it's nice. Now it's starting to get overcast. I'm getting a little bit of a rain shower. Normally I would, in the past, it's still in the 50s, 58 is a moist rain coming through. It's not overly windy, but in the past, I used to bring my Coleus trays out, the larger ones, and let them sit out here in the rain for an hour or so, and it actually did a little damage because it's still a little bit too cold and nasty. So I've made that mistake before, so I'm being a little more patient now. So today would have been one of those days that I'm like, oh, let me get my Coleus out and harden them off a little bit, but there's still plenty of time. There's going to be plenty of days that I can harden my Coleus. And then if you're not familiar with hardening Coleus, you want to look through my videos. I have plenty of videos on hardening Coleus. Hardening Coleus is the way to introduce your Coleus to being outdoors. And again, I'm going to shoot a detailed video about that once that starts to happen. So anyway, we're out here. It's a little raw, but again, we live and learn. I'm very happy my Coleus is doing real well. So, all right. So, any questions, comments? Please leave a comment. And again, Instagram, best place to get in touch with me if you have any problems. And again, if you don't subscribe, please subscribe to Jim's Wholiest of Coleus. I appreciate it. I appreciate all my friends, my regular followers who always stop and say hi. You know, you guys are the best. You motivate me so much. You make you feel appreciated, and I appreciate you guys. So all right, so stay tuned. We'll be shooting some more videos as these guys keep growing and growing and growing. So all right, take care everybody. Have a great weekend. Happy Easter to everybody. Take care.